Hi everybody, it's Pokemon922. Wow, I've been gone for a while, haven't I? Well, actually I wasn't gone that long. I mean, I did my JoJo Bizarre Adventure, episode 2 review, yesterday. I came home late night. And, you know, the unboxing of those animes I got from Kamakan. Yeah, and then it was the last day. I showed you what I got. I showed you... Moving on from there. But yeah, that was the story. That's a little bit. Now, I got some reviews to do. Wow, shitload. I gotta do Fairy Tail episode review, manga review. I gotta do Kenichi. I gotta do One Piece. Haven't decided yet of Tempest. I'm thinking to replace Tempest with Codebreaker. But I don't know. I'll probably do Tempest too. And the video review I'm doing right now. Sword Art Online, episode 15. Okay, now someone messaged me and said, you know, Bonkai, you know, if you're gonna go crazy on this review, it's depressing. Not as bad, you know, I'm gonna disagree with you. It isn't as bad as it seems. However, here's what I've noticed. Now, there's one thing to know about the creator of Sword Art Online. He created ACCEL World. Now, people have thought some ideas here about this. How there's a connection between ACCEL World and Sword Art Online. Now, regardless of if there's a connection or not, I will say this. It's kind of following the same formula that ACCEL World did. To a degree. To a degree. Now, this one was called Return. We basically, in this episode, basically what happens is we got, beginning of the episode was so sad. Oh, man. There's a part where almost cried. Yes, I almost cried in this episode. It was pretty sad. Pretty much what happened in this episode, there were a few flashbacks to when Kirito was sedated, you know, he was in the game. And the beginning of the episode was sad because you hit him and Asuna at that house, and all of a sudden everything gets destroyed, and he's like, Asuna! He's screaming in his sleep. He wakes up. Tears are coming out off his face, from his eyes, and yeah, he wakes up, he looks at his face, and tears are coming off his eyes, and he's like, really stressed out about it. Now, the opening was pretty good, but now I understand that this new game they're going to go get into is pretty interesting. The only thing is Yui. Yui is this tiny. She's in his pocket. That was amazing. I was like, what the? Really? Wow. She's like, I don't want to say there's a comparison to Zelda here, but I mean, you know, Pixie, you know. Moving on. The opening was pretty good, regardless of that. We get the introduction of a character who was in the beginning of Sword Art Online, but we didn't get really too much information about her. And that is not Kirito, Kazuto's younger sister. And her name is Sugaha. Now, it seems that Sugaha, okay, there's a slight possibility she's going into the game with Kirito. I have a feeling it's going to happen. So, after we had this whole thing with Kirito and him waking up, we see that, you know, she's practicing with her swings, her kendo swings, because she practiced kendo. And we have Kirito, she's worried about him, Sugaha, about her brother, But she's not. They're like step. She's really his cousin. But she treats him as an older brother, calls him Oni-chan and everything. And one day she's practicing her swings and everything, and he decides that he wants to, spar with her. And it seems like he's okay but doing it, and so on and so forth. The interesting part about this episode I found interesting was Kirito took what he learned in Sword Art Online into the real world. So he was able to go on par with his sister Suga with his own sword style. With the style that he had in the game. So he starts fighting her. He loses the sparring match because he was on the edge of the dojo mat thing in the dojo. So he lost to his sister. But he's saying, like, joking around, oh, you could have killed Heathcliff. That was funny. Hey, moving right along. After the sparring match there, they go in the house, and he's going to make breakfast, and he tells her, oh, I have to go to the hospital. I'm going to go to the hospital, too, for Asuna. And basically, he then talk narration of himself, saying, and we see Suga, she's very concerned about Kazuto, Kirito. It's like, kinda likes him? Now, basically what ends on happening is, he goes to the hospital and he's explaining to, like, fourth, wall, self-narration, that sharing the information with the agents of Sword Art Online about taking the company down, they were able to give him, as a fair exchange, the whereabouts of where Asuna was, and he found out. She hasn't been logged out of the game. That's the whole bit. So she's basically a vegetable, sleeping down, and he keeps visiting her day in, day out. We get the introduction of Asuna's father, Mr. Yuki. Asuna's full name is Asuna Yuki. Now, unfortunately, I forgot the guy. There's this guy that shows up. His name eludes me. His name eludes me. But he's not her father, because her father walks in and says, oh, thank you very much, Kirito, for coming here continuously, for her sake, and so on and so forth. And then he starts talking about putting her in a dress. Now, Kirito's like, he thinks it's like a funeral thing. But it's not. The guy that's with Yuki, who calls him president, okay, he's being labeled as the NOMI of Sword Art Online. Yeah. He basically tells Kirito, oh, by the way, I'm going to marry her. Now, it's not like, it's like a binding marriage. Like, it's like so stupid because you're marrying Asuna. He's being brought in, this guy's being brought into the Yuki family. And he's going to marry Asuna by a document. I'm like, fuck are you? And basically he tells Kirito that the company, not the company, I think the name of the company was Argus. That's the company that created Sword Art Online. They're bankrupt. The company that took over their role is the company this guy owns. So he basically is telling Yuki, he's basically telling Kirito, yeah, I'm keeping her alive. And he then is just bullshit saying, you should say your final goodbyes. Douchebag motherfucker. This guy is the NOMI of SAO. I'm calling it. I don't know the creator what we was pitching with that, but That's the way he went with this idea. Then he comes home, and Sugaha is very worried about him. She says, "Oni-chan, bath is ready." She goes in the room, and she realizes he's freezing. And then he confesses to her what happened. And he says that he can't get to Asuna anymore. It's over. It's hopeless. I'm hopeless. And like she's embracing him. And at the moment, I know Sugaha has feelings for him. Now, we also, like I said, get a flashback. We get a flashback of when Kirito was still in the game, and he's with his mother and his sister, and she explains to her, Kirito's mother explains to his sister, well, stepsister, I should say, about how he found out that he wasn't really his sister and all that sort of stuff. But they're cousins. See, they're cousins. Get where I'm going with this? But then she basically, she embraces him, and after the flashback, and realizes that his heart is with her, with Asuna, not with her, his sister, and she starts to cry. So this is conflict. This is kind of conflict going on, and we have a funny scene. They wake up. She's still sleeping, and he pokes her, and she gets up. She's like, ah! She's embarrassed, and she like walks out and just one of those things. And then he says, "Geez," and and he reminded what she told him. His sister told him to don't give up from it, And then that's when he gets a message, and this is, I believe, the message from the guy in the game, Aegis. He gives him an email, and he shows a picture. Somebody in the game that looks like Asuna. Sure enough, it's her. And that's when, more or less, the episode ends. So, I'm going to give this right now a 3.5. This was depressing. Like I said, I almost cried to when he was crying. He was saying all these things. I was close to a tear. Almost made me cry. You almost did it. But this is a good way of going in. Now, the only thing that gets me is it seems like his sister is going to go with him in the game. This other game. So, it just seems weird, Now, how this transpires, don't really know. But it seems like we're going to get a full-on concentration look on Kirito's sister, Sugaha. Because she has feelings for him. That's going to come into play. So it should be interesting to see how this goes down the road. Who knows? We will see, You never know. But yeah, 3.5 out of 5. It was a good episode. I mean, that guy, another character. I'm going to find him on Anime Planet. Hate. That guy is a definite scumbag. Fortunately, I don't know his name. I will... Next episode, you're guaranteed, I will find this guy's name, and I will make sure to write it in the description. Maybe that's what I'll do. And that's why, that way I'll be ready to know. But we will see where this goes. I think it's interesting. Like I said before, it seems like they can fly. Yes. Now, the only thing is Yui. Yui's in the game, and she's like this tiny. She goes into Kirito's pocket. I'm like, come on, man. That's ridiculous. But regardless, a good episode. I almost cried, so you know, if you almost cry, it's a fucking awesome episode. 3.5 out of 5. We will see what happens. I kind of like where this is going. I want to see more. I want to see what exactly does he have to fight Kirito in this new game. Should be interesting. It should be very interesting. But his connection with his cousin is going to be like, you know? So we'll see. This has been Bonkai 922, and I will see you guys later.